the first part of metabolism, we have covered catabolism of carbohydrate. Now, in this second part, we will learn catabolism of lipid and amino acids as well as anabolism of all three, that is carbohydrate, lipid and amino acids.
Now, we will see about the lipid catabolism. In lipid catabolism, fatty acids undergo catabolism in the mitochondria. So, it is known as beta oxidation of a fatty acids and consists of 5 enzymatic steps. Number 1. Activation. It is done by thiokinase enzyme, also known as acetyl-CoA. Number 2. Dehydrogenation. It is done by acetyl-CoA dehydrogenase enzyme. Number 3. Hydration. It is done by enol-CoA hydratase enzyme. Number 4. Dehydrogenation. It is done by L3-hydroxyl acyl-CoA dehydrogenase. And number 5. Cleavage. It is done by thiolase enzyme. Fatty acid activation takes place in the endoplasmic reticulum or the other mitochondrial membrane. The remaining 4 reactions occur in the mitochondrial matrix because fatty acyl-CoA, that is activated fatty acids, cannot cross the inner mitochondrial membrane directly. So, its movement requires a transport system, and this transport system is called a carnitine carrier system. This carnitine is low molecular weight compound derived from lysine. The last reaction of beta oxidation consists of a cleavage of fatty acid molecule at its beta carbon, forming a shortened fatty acyl-CoA, that is shortened by 2 carbons, and a molecule of acetyl-CoA. Following thiolysis, the shortened fatty acyl-CoA recycle through the last 4 steps of beta oxidation from acyl-CoA dehydrogenase to thiolase. It leads to another shortened fatty acyl-CoA that is also shortened by 2 carbons and another molecule of acetyl-CoA. These steps are repeated and repeated again. So, the overall reaction for the complete degradation of palmitic acid, that is contains 16 carbon saturated fatty acid, is palmitic acid plus 7 FAD plus 7 NAD plus 7 H2O plus 8 coenzyme SH plus ATP, that is converted into 8 acetyl-CoA plus 7 FADH2 plus 7 NADH plus H plus AMP plus pyrophosphate. So, acetyl-CoA formed in beta oxidation that can enter citric acid cycle, resulting in complete oxidation of acetyl group to carbon dioxide and water molecule. Now, this NADH and FADH2 produced during the beta oxidation are subsequently oxidized using a electron transport system. Here, 8 acetyl-CoA in citric acid cycle produce 96 ATP. 7 FADH2 via electron transport system produce 14 ATP. 7 NADH plus H plus via also electron transport system produce 21 ATP. So, the total production of ATP is 131. From this value, we must subtract 2 ATP equivalent expanded in beta oxidation. Thus, in terms of net yield of energy rich bonds, beta oxidation of palmitic acid is 129. This beta oxidation of unsaturated fatty acids requires additional enol-CoA reductase in case of monounsaturated fatty acids, and enol-CoA reductase as well as dienoyl-CoA reductase in di or polyunsaturated fatty acids. Comparatively, lesser molecule of ATP are generated. Okay. Now let me explain about the catabolism of amino acids. Amino acid metabolism consists of many different reactions and a variety of pathways. With few expectations, the first step in amino acid degradation involves a removal of amino group by either transamination or you can say deamination. Transamination represents a general pathway that applies to most amino acids and constitutes an important mechanism for interconversion of nitrogen containing compounds. These transaminase reactions are catalyzed by transaminase or aminotransferase enzyme and involves transfer of an amino group from an amino acids to a keto acids. For example, amino acid plus alpha ketoglutarate that is converted into glutamate plus keto acid. In deamination, this amino group is removed as ammonia. Deamination usually occurs coupled to an oxidation, resulting in conversion of an amino acid to keto acids. This makes the overall reaction one of the oxidative deamination. Ammonia enters the urea cycle where it is again converted to urea and excreted. For example, glutamate plus NAD plus H2O that is converted into alpha ketoglutarate plus NADH plus H plus ammonia. Following oxidative deamination, carbon skeleton of all amino acids undergo degradation to one of 7 common intermediates. Based on these end products of their catabolism, we can place amino acids into 2 large groups. Number 1, glucogenic, that is also called glycogenic. Amino acids are catabolized to precursors of carbohydrates. Catabolism of these amino acids yields pyruvate, oxaloacetate, alpha ketoglutarate, succinyl-CoA and fumarate that leads to synthesis of glucose and glycogen. Number 2 is ketogenic amino acids. This kind of ketogenic amino acids are catabolized to precursors of lipids. Catabolism of these amino acids yield acetyl-CoA and acetoacetyl-CoA which leads to synthesis of ketone bodies. Most of the 13 amino acids are strictly glucogenic. Leucine and lysine represent only amino acids that are strictly ketogenic. 5 amino acids turn out to be both glucogenic and ketogenic. Their degradation yields 2 products, one of which is glucogenic and the other is ketogenic. Okay, up to here we saw that catabolism of carbohydrate, lipids and amino acids. Now we will see the anabolism. Anabolism is a process of metabolism in which the simple substances are converted into complex compounds by cells. Anabolic reactions have divergent characteristics. A simple precursor gives rise to numerous large molecules by reactions that fan out from the initial step. Let me first define about the anabolism of carbohydrate. Glycogen synthetase catalyzes the polymerization of activated glucose residues to glycogen. Glycogen in the storage form of carbohydrates in animals. Gluconeogenesis refers to the synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate precursor such as the lactate, pyruvate, glycerol and amino acids. Gluconeogenesis is crucial for survival of human beings and other animals because these organisms possess a number of tissues including a central nervous system, kidney, red blood cells and testes that use primarily glucose as a fuel to generate energy. An adequate level of blood sugar must be maintained so that the tissues receives the necessary amount of glucose. In a sense, this gluconeogenesis constitutes a reversal of glycolysis. Glucose is synthesized from pyruvate with three bypasses. First one is pyruvate to phosphoenol pyruvate. Second one is fructose 1,6 biphosphate to fructose 6-phosphate. And third one is glucose 6-phosphate to glucose. Now, we will see about lipid anabolism. Fatty acid synthesis occurs when the organism needs to store excess energy derived from the diet. The process takes place in the cytosol and involves progressive lengthening of a fatty acid chain by 2 carbons derived from acetyl-CoA. Before this, mitochondria generated acetyl-CoA can participate in fatty acid synthesis. It needs to be transported from the mitochondria to the cytosol. However, the inner mitochondrial membrane is essentially impermeable to acetyl-CoA. Accordingly, a subtle mechanism, that is tricarboxylate transport system, uses citrate as a carrier of acetyl group. Inside the mitochondria, citrate forms from acetyl-CoA and oxaloacetate in the first reaction of citric acid cycle. In the cytosol, this cleavage of citrate catalyzed by citrate lyase regenerates both acetyl-CoA and oxaloacetate. This oxaloacetate leads to malate or pyruvate, either one of which can be transported back into mitochondria. Synthesis of fatty acids begins with the formation of malonyl-CoA from acetyl-CoA. The reaction catalyzed by acetyl-CoA carboxylase constitutes the committed step of fatty acid synthesis. The remaining reaction of fatty acid synthesis, beginning with acetyl-CoA and malonyl-CoA, are catalyzed the fatty acid synthase complex. In animal cells, fatty acid synthase constitutes of 7 enzymatic activities and an acyl carrier protein. Now, let us see the last one, amino acid metabolism. Biosynthesis of amino acids proceeds from simple metabolic precursors. Some non-essential amino acids are produced directly from the intermediates of carbohydrates and lipid metabolism, and some are formed by way of other amino acids. For example, hydroxylation of phenylalanine yields tyrosine. Serine serves as a precursor of glycine and cysteine, and the glutamate serves as a precursor of proline and arginine. This biosynthesis of essential amino acids occur only in plants and microorganisms and usually require a large number of steps than pathways for the synthesis of a non-essential amino acids. For example, histidine forms from ribose 5-phosphate by way of phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate. Today we have seen metabolism of carbohydrate, lipid and amino acids, how it is catabolized and anabolized in our body. This holds a vast importance in the study of normal metabolism in our body, and it can help in curing the metabolic disorders up to a certain extent. For example, obesity, diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol abnormalities, etc. These metabolic disorders occur when these normal processes become disrupted. Disorders in metabolism can be inherited, in which case they are also known as inborn errors of metabolism, or they may be acquired during your lifetime. So, in our life, this study of metabolism is play a major role.